Welcome to Sports Talk.
Welcome. I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
Top Notch Sports. Today we're going to go over the 2022 Seattle Seahawks salary review and off-season moves. Seattle, last in the division last year. Look, this team, it's tough to say. Pete Carroll's been here for a very, very, very long time. The NFC West is getting tougher and tougher. Russell Wilson may stay, may not stay. We really just don't know yet. A lot of stuff going on here. And we're going to try to do a mock offseason, a mock free agency and draft for you guys to see what we think is possibly going to happen this upcoming offseason. Mike, let's start with you. What do you got here on the first slide?
Okay, so looking at the first slide, we see they have $36.8 million available in cap room. Now, if you look at a player like Bobby Wagner, it's never going to happen. But if for some reason the Seattle Seahawks decided to release him, they would add $16.6 million to the cap space, so it would free more up. But then if you go look at a guy like Jamal Adams in the red, you see $6.9 million. If you released him, that would hurt the cap and go against the cap, so you would lose $6.9 million towards the cap room.
Yeah, right now they got $36.8 million. That's a lot of money to work with right now to possibly bring back some of the guys. Again, real fast, I want to bring this up to you guys too. The guys that are currently listed right now on your screen are guys that are currently under contract, okay? So if they're not here, it's because that they're current free agents, and they'll be on the next slide, and you got to use that $36.8 million to use to bring them back, okay? One thing I want to also look at here is when you look at this slide, okay, look at the guys that have a high cap hit, like Bobby Wagner, like Russell Wilson. Those are the guys that might honestly get cut, get traded something because or Puna Ford, because they have a lot of cap space invested into them, and if they're not playing up to par, they typically will get cut. But we're going to see what we got. Let's go to the next slide. We're going to look at our notable losses. Mike, go ahead.
All right, so looking at the notable losses slide, before I get into it, I got to give a shout out and a thanks to our numbers guy. He figures out the expected contracts and the percentage of snaps played. Noah the Ticonderoga Pencil Thompson. Thank you, buddy. All right, so now let's get into the notable losses. We got Dwayne Brown, left tackle. He's expected to get a one-year, $10 million contract, and he played 97.9% of the snaps. Next, we got cornerback DJ Reed Jr. His expected contract is a 3-year, $24 million deal, and he plays 79.0% of the snaps. Next, we got free safety Quandre Diggs. His expected contract is a 3-year, $30 million deal, and he played 97% of the snaps. We got tight end Gerald Everett. His expected contract is a 3-year, $25.5 million deal. He played 65.6% of the snaps. Brandon Shell, right tackle, 3-year deal, $18.6 million is the expected contract, and he played 55.6% of the snaps. We got cornerback Sidney Jones. He's expected to get a 1-year, $4.25 million deal, and he played 57.5% of the snaps. We got running back Rashad Penny. His expected contract is a 1-year, $2 million deal, and he played 25.5% of the snaps. We got quarterback Geno Smith. His expected contract is a 1-year, $4 million deal, and he played 20.5% of the snaps. And finally, we got Ethan Pokic, guard. His expected contract is a 3-year, $12 million deal, and he played 60.6% of the snaps.
All right, so typically a rule of thumb here is that, you want to bring back guys that, have a high percent of snaps played, because these are the guys that played a lot of snaps last year. And, typically if they played well with the snaps that they did play, the team will bring them back and hopefully use them. And hopefully, they'll use them well. The next year, of course. So let's hop into the next slide. I'll show you the potential targets for the 2022 NFL season. Here you go. Estimated cap space, $36.8 million in estimated cap space. Estimated cuts. We don't have you guys cutting nobody right now. Again, there's some money that is there that you need to cut, but the guys that you have to cut are really good players for this team, and it will completely kill this team's chances of making the playoffs. Estimated signings, Dwayne Brown, 1-year, $10 million deal, $10 million cap hit. DJ Reed, 3-year, $21 million. That should be a $7 million cap. I don't know why that says 8, but $7 million cap hit. Quandre Diggs, 3-year, $30 million deal, $10 million cap hit. Rashad Penny, 1-year, $2 million cap hit, and Ethan Pokic, 3-year, $4 million cap hit. That totals to $34 million in total cost, which gives you a $2.8 million in estimated remaining cap space. Team needs wide receiver, tight end, interior offensive lineman, offensive tackle, edge, cornerback, safety. We got you re-signing Ethan Pokic and re-signing Quandre Diggs and re-signing DJ Reed. We also got you guys drafting Bernard Raymond, a right tackle in the second round, and tight end Cade Oten in the third round. And on the next slide, Mike will give you what is their 2022 projected depth chart. Mike, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the 2022 projected depth chart. We see Russell Wilson at quarterback, so we think he is actually going to be staying. But let's start off by looking at the Orange. The Orange are re-signed. So we got Dwayne Brown coming right back to his spot. Ethan Pokich coming back to his spot on the offensive line. Quandre Diggs, DJ Reed, all returning and coming back to the starting lineup. And we got guys in light blue. We got Bernard Rainman coming in and stepping in at right tackle. And then we got Cade Oten coming in. Now the players in yellow are placeholders. So this is where we think that the Seattle Seahawks can improve, but they're most likely will be stuck with these guys unless they draft. So we got Damian Lewis, Niles Scott, Benson Mayowa, and Trey Brown, all spots where we think this team can improve and maybe should look to.
Yeah. So again, look, when you look at this team right now, there's a lot of yellows, and a lot of the teams that we've been doing, they don't have a lot of yellows, but according to PFF, their grades are very low, and it looks like these guys are the guys that they should probably upgrade. When you look at this team, though, again, bringing in Raymond as right tackle right now, a lot of that you see is that we're bringing back guys to protect Russell Wilson and hopefully make room for Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, who we're also bringing back in this because it sounds like they want to bring him back to give him a chance. He finally started sparking a little bit last year. You see, they're bringing Quandre Diggs and DJ Reed back. You got $2.8 million total left right now. Look, there's not a lot of fun in this thing besides you're bringing in a right tackle and a tight end. And everyone's saying, why a tight end? Well, look, you got receivers. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. You drafted Dwayne Eskridge last year. You could also maybe spend it on a cornerback maybe, but there's really not a ton of cornerbacks, at least that I know of yet, coming out of this year's draft. And the best guy available on the board when your pick was up in the third round was Cade Otten. The issue is that you guys traded away 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams. And this year you don't have a first-round pick again. You got really good linebackers between Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks. But mainly, I mean, this team, man, I don't know. What do you think about this team in general? I mean, it's tough to say.
Needs to stay healthy. With a healthy Russell Wilson, you're going to be a division contender every single year. But the problem was you let this guy get hit too much. So I think you should do more than what we have you doing personally to improve this offensive line. This offensive line needs to be the most solid thing on this roster because you don't want to lose a quarterback like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is the type of guy who should stay here his entire career. There shouldn't even be any trade rumors about getting rid of Russell Wilson. And secondly, the defense. Jamal Adams, quite frankly, has not lived up to what you paid for him. So Jamal Adams needs to take a step in the right direction and have a monster-like season like we saw him have in New York. So we need Jamal Adams to step up. The linebacking core is phenomenal. Bobby Wagner and even Jordan Brooks, which shocked me a little bit this year because I don't know, Nick, were you a big fan of the Jordan Brooks pick?
I didn't have him scouted.
Yeah, like we didn't really know who he was when he got drafted. And honestly, he stepped up in a big way this year and had a good year. So I just think you got to protect your quarterback, and this team could be in contention. This team can win 10 games. We've seen the Seattle Seahawks look phenomenal, but we need to protect Russell Wilson. Chris Carson also needs to stay healthy. This is another guy with some injury history. Chris Carson and Russell Wilson needs to be able to get DK Metcalf the ball. There was a lot of complaining this year because DK Metcalf was not getting the ball enough, and I agree with it 100%. He needs to touch the ball more because he could take a drag route and run 50 yards for a touchdown. So you got to get DK Metcalf the ball more.
We know Russell Wilson has one of the best deep balls in the game. Listen, here's my question to you, Mike. With this roster that we have constructed, with the cap space that they have and the draft picks, because they don't have a first rounder, they were 7-10 this year. Mm-hmm. What do you think this year? I mean, just a prediction early. What do you think? Do you think that they're higher? And where do you think they finish in the division?
Assuming Russell Wilson stays healthy. Now we still got to look at the Rams and the other teams in this division before we say who's going to win the division. But I think the Rams are probably the best team in the division if they can retain all the guys they have, which I don't know how they're going to do because of their cap situation. So we're going to have to wait and see. We come out with division videos too before the start of the year.
Yeah.
But I think this team can definitely be competing for it. And I think they can win 9, 10, 11 games if they protect Russell Wilson. If it's somewhat what we saw last year, I think we're going to see a similar struggle.
Yeah. All right, now I got this team with this offseason and knowing the other team. I'm going to go with 9 wins is my prediction. Usually I say 8-9, 7-8-9. I'm just going to – I feel like this team is going to win 9 games if this is a roster going into next year. Now, again, we'll have a really better understanding of what this team actually does before the season. But right now, if this was their team, I'm saying 9 wins in a very tough division in the NFC West. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Sorry, again, look, a lot of the money got spent towards re-signing players, but again, it's good to have continuity. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. We'll see you guys soon. Peace. We are.
Okay.
See you guys soon. Peace.